So now I guess we're talking about like all out pacing. And it's pretty much the worst idea for pretty much anything you do, except like a 100-meter sprint. So you think about Usain Bolt, if he started off really slowly, or he's like, yeah, you know what, this 9 seconds is a pretty long time. I'm just going to like cruise into this one. Most of like the time that can be gained in a 100-meter sprint is at the start, where you're totally standing still. Like you're actually not moving, right? When the gun goes off, you're still not moving. And then you need to get up to speed as quick as possible. And that's the hardest part. So that's where you need to expend the most energy. So if you think about your 100-mile run or your cross-country mountain bike race, the same concept applies, but you have so much time to make up that deficit. You have more than 100 meters to make up that deficit. You have 20 Ks or something, or 100 Ks, right? In the 100K run. So you have plenty of time. So you don't need to worry about going all out. And I know people, especially mountain biking, talk about how important the start is because of the single track, and it's really difficult to pass. But if you actually break it down and you look at analysis by laps, you don't stand to lose that much time on the first lap. So it's about finding that mix, because it is really hard to pass.
Oh, but like we've seen, you got me into, when you first moved to New Zealand, like watching the cross-country mountain bike racing on Red Bull TV. And so this is the World Series, like the best riders in the world. And even from that, there are standout riders within the world. And you see them crash at the start, slip a pedal, get a flat tire on the first lap, and they're back in 100th or whatever. Like some crazy play. They move all the way up throughout the race into the podium, or at least the top 10. So it shows
the best are the best.
Yeah,
right.
The capacity's there. So if you're trying to ride with the best at the start, you don't.
They're already better than you. So like that's the important thing to remember, is they are like that much better. So they can maintain. They're not going all out at the start. You know, Nino Schurter at the start of the World Cup cross country isn't going all out as much as the guy that's 10 seconds behind him that's going to finish 100th. So
yeah. And with this, like looking at the all-out pacing slide, all-out pacing is really a matter of accelerating, right? Getting up to a certain velocity so that either inertia in cycling, track cycling, you know, you're talking about like the flying lap or something like that, is going to be able to be maintained, where the amount of energy required at a certain velocity is not as much as getting up to that velocity. Because if you were going to, whereas, you know, you mentioned like a 100K run, the capacity for you to get up to whatever, like 10 Ks an hour, requires about 10 meters and a minimal amount of energy. And even if it took 20 meters, you have the next 99.98 kilometers to compensate for that extra 20 meters that it took.
You got plenty of time. So I guess the classic example on that slide is I showed the basilisk, the Jesus lizard that runs across the water. He has to use all-out pacing to get across the water, but you don't, right? So if he didn't use all-out pacing, he would just sink. But we don't have to worry about that.